BRN, where educators share what works.
Banning AI is banned in our university. There is no banning any AI.
All right, everybody, good morning. Hope everyone's doing well.
Good morning.
I have got a question for you, and I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but in my school, I remember last year one time, and I know it's the same this year, I went to do some work on ChatGPT, and it was blocked. And I went again, and it was blocked, and I emailed someone, and they said, no, it's blocked in our county. I started thinking to myself, okay, should I just wait until it's unblocked?
No.
Do I just forget about it? How do we handle that? Because the pace of a day is so quick that I wasn't about to go searching for 4 or 5 different other AI tools to see if they were blocked too. I just said, forget it, I'm going to go do something else. But how do we handle that when it's blocked, and yet we hear everyone else using this cool new tool, and yet we don't have access to it? What do you all think about that?
John, I would say you do not have the tenacity of a student then, because once they find something that's blocked, by golly, they are searching like crazy to find the one that's not blocked.
Yes.
Or VPN it.
I had students like
Straight
that.
through the VPN.
Why are we so extremist in schools? It's like all in or not in. And then, yes, there's always outliers. But I feel like it's like, we're all getting smart boards now. And then, we're all getting iPads now. We're all getting Chromebooks now. No one's touching AI. But stop. Like you said, Dan, the kids are already using it. You have to educate yourself people are going to hate me. You have to educate yourself whether your school is using it or not. It's your world around you. It's the world of your students. We can't just isolate ourselves from things because it's blocked in our school. I'm sorry. No.
But Julie, if it's blocked in your school, why would it be a priority? I mean, if I can't use this tool, what would it benefit me to spend hours mastering that tool that I'm never going to be able to use anyways?
Well, first off, stop it. Everything you touch pretty much has AI. Okay, so we always make the Netflix joke, right? And I always get upset when my husband touches my Netflix account because then it messes up my whole algorithm. But even our computer-based testing that we use with students, even their different levels of reading, there is some form of AI that we've been using for years in education. Now we're just talking about a different form of AI.
Wait, so you mean with state testing, there's not somebody who reads every single essay? In order for us to get those results back in less than 30 days on like 30,000 students?
Well, yes, there are people who still read those crazy things. That is actually true. That's AI, that's machine learning, right? So we've been doing that for years. Okay, why do I need to do this? I need to do this because, A, the floodgates are going to just open one day and you're going to be a little behind. B, because it is your world. C, because you are an educator. Just because it's banned in your school does not mean that you should not educate yourself on what is around you and what is around the world. I don't know how else to express that. Somebody help me.
Well, John, it is banned at your school. Why do you care?
I'll be honest, after I saw that it was banned, I didn't care that much. I'm not going to lie to you. I use some at home, but when I saw it was banned at school, I just said, screw it, I'll go do something else right now, because time is so precious. When we all get home, we obviously want to spend some time learning about our craft and doing other things, but I'll just go on to the next thing that can help me, because there's just so much out there. And sometimes I get jaded when I see folks online tell me all these amazing things they're doing with it when I know it's banned at my school. I don't worry about it that much. And maybe I should, after hearing Julie, maybe I should worry more about it, but I don't, because there's so much to worry about. Is that one of the things I should be worrying about? And maybe that's the question here. Should we be worrying that it's banned in our school, or should we just go on to the next thing?
I think the other reason I'm so passionate is because I'm a woman of color. And so my family found a way to make sure that I got education starting in elementary school where I was in a school where there were opportunities. So I wasn't left behind. Oh, hate that term. But we're doing a disservice and we're adding to the digital divide if all students are not getting the opportunity to touch things, to learn about things. And typically it is our underrepresented students, and typically it is our students of color. Or in our, like where I live in a rural kind of area, right? It's like, we don't need it up here. No, you do. This is your world. You might not always be confined in this little space. You need to know what's happening in your world. So that's another reason I get passionate about it, because we're dividing ourselves and our students who are not all receiving the same education.
Well, John, I want to ask, are you not allowed to use it professionally when you're working at home? Has the district banned you from using it on lesson plans or from creating lessons?
I'll be honest, I don't even know. Because I do use it at home. I don't even... I am one of those people right now who have not finished all the Safe Schools tests. I keep getting the email saying, okay, you have 8 more tests to take. You know, those tests we take in the beginning of the year. So it might be
bloodborne pathogen.
It might be in one of those lectures, but I haven't seen it yet. So I use it at home, but at school it's blocked. And I use it some at home, not a whole lot, but I use it some at home. But it would be nice when I'm at school to be able to find a piece of text, copy it in there. Okay, make this a first grade level. Boom. Because this sounds crazy, but I don't have a printer at home. I need to get one. I keep thinking I need to get one. I just don't have a printer at home. So it'd be nice to be able to level this text, boom, print it out. I can take it to school the next day.
You can with Dip-It. It's an AI app.
See, look at that.
Well, let me ask you this. Say you're at school, John, and you have your phone and you actually disconnected it from the school's Wi-Fi.
Yes, I can do that, yep.
Okay. You have ChatGPT or some other app on your phone.
I do. I'm looking at it right
And-
now. GenAI.
Okay, so is there any repercussion if you're caught using it, even if it's on a personal device?
I don't know.
I'm not trying to out you and say that you do use it that way, but
No, that's all right. Nobody listens to my podcast. That's all right.
That's hysterical. Wi-Fi police are going to be in his room on Monday.
Yeah. No, but I turn off the Wi-Fi. I would turn off the Wi-Fi, or it would be blocked on my phone if I had the Wi-Fi on, so I could just use cellular to do that. But I don't even know.
because then I wonder, if there are teachers who would still use it for their students and change a text, using Brisk or something, and then download it and email it to a student and do it that way and try to find a workaround, or if it is no, there is absolutely no way I will ever be caught using it.
I know we can't use something that's not approved by the county, so that might answer the question. If I were to use some a platform or technology that's not approved by the county and email to a student, that's where something could get sketchy.
And you keep saying county. You mean your whole county?
Our county has 11 schools, maybe, about 3,500, 5,000, or 4,000 students.
Oh, okay, I get it. That's pretty small.
Our counties are smaller, I guess, I'm sure, than New York, definitely. That's a school in New York, I'm sure.
That could be a school. So I get it. So, well, in many ways, as a technology person, that's also good. Because there's checks and balances on everybody using the same thing, and everybody knowing no matter what school you're going to learn how to use this tool. But yeah, okay, then your whole county is blocked from AI. That's a little, your county's gonna hate me. It's a little extreme, I think. But everybody, I think, is at an odd point right now with AI, because not every state has policies in place of how to use AI and for what reason. And in our state of New York, there are privacy laws. So we need to be careful about what we're using so we're not sharing students' personal identifiable information, and that is really important. So in New York, you could be using one thing over here and one thing over there and one thing over here and one thing over there. So that can be frustrating, and your system could actually be more efficient.
So Caroline, what do you see I mean, do you see it banned where you are?
Well, I'm going to talk about my university, and I'm in the polar opposite situation from John. So we've actually got a saying that the rector has sent out at our university on all our social media that says, banning AI is banned in our university. There is no banning any AI. We're encouraging it across teaching and learning. We're encouraging it through all of our assessments. We're encouraging instructors to re-look at the learning outcomes so that they're relevant in the age of AI. We also have a very solid AI policy in place, a solid, detailed AI policy in place for instructors, for students, about how we can use it, what we should be aware of, about the privacy issues. So it's really clear for everyone. We know what we can do. Julie, you raised the equity issue. That's another thing we were concerned about. So we have an AI cafe, a dedicated computer lab at the university, on which we have paid for accounts like GPT-4, a number of different paid for AI accounts that were chosen by the students in a survey that went out to all of the students. They have free access in the lab to all of those tools that they chose, setting up remote access as well so that students can remotely access these tools as well through a booking system. So yeah, you can bring it in, but make sure everyone can access it and make sure everyone knows what is allowed, what isn't allowed, how we should be using it. So total polar opposite.
This is our cycle, right? In New York, we're kind of banning the phones again. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with kids not sitting on their phones in a classroom. It's not that I do kind of agree with that. Classrooms should be time when students are learning how to interact with one another, have conversations and learn, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn from your phone. Like I said, I feel like we always kind of go to the extremes. The internet came out, we're not going to use that. Calculators, we're not going to use that. And now in some classes you need to purchase an actual scientific calculator and learn how to use it. So is this the new calculator?
Definitely. Can you imagine if we were in industry, not education, would we be having this conversation? Absolutely not. We'd be investigating it, using it, experimenting with it, trying to work out how it could benefit us. So why is education so different and so behind in comparison to industry?
I think part of it is that in industry, they're assuming everyone already knows how to do their job, and they're trying to figure out how to do their job better. In schools, we're trying to get students to understand that they have a job, how to do the job, and how to do the job well before they figure out how to do the job better. I do understand schools when they're like, you know what, we don't want big tech to get our data. We want to have that data protected, and maybe they don't know that there are other AI sources other than ChatGPT, which is just taking everything and learning from it, and they don't realize that there are other versions that are actually dedicated to schools that filter data, secure data. It doesn't learn from what you're inputting. But I mean, I am a rule follower. That's just who I am. And so if my school said, you're not allowed to use it, whether I agree with the rule or not, I will enforce the rule because that's the rule.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of John thinking, again, if it's banned and you can't use it, what do? That's hard.
All right, Julie, I want to throw this out there. This would be a tough question for me to answer, but if we're trying to tell teachers, hey, if your school banned it, here's what you can do, what would you tell them?
If your school banned it, I would ask some questions. I would ask some questions of why are we banning it? Are we banning it for all ages? Are we banning it for our own use or student use? When do you think we might introduce this? So I would encourage teachers, not by themselves, but maybe get together with other people who are interested and come up with some questions to ask about that. But I would also encourage them to try it at home.
No, I totally agree with what Julie's just said there. Instead of just saying it's banned. We need the justifications by asking those questions. And then, having that dialogue about the justifications for it, we can drill down into those and we can discover what the main purpose of banning is. We need to understand why it's been banned.
And there needs to be some research in the conversation too, because I don't want it to feel like I'm just saying this. So I would help them find research that says, what happens in our digital divide when we do this, or research that shows how teachers are using it around the globe, or so I would help them put it together with research to back it, so it's not just them saying something.
But what if your district, when you say why is it banned, and they give the dreaded parent excuse of because I said so.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
And there is no definitive explanation. And it could be because the district feels that they would have to give that explanation again and again and again, over and over, and it would take more time explaining all the reasons why they shouldn't. It's just easier to say no.
Would these districts have a policy document in which this information is available?
Right.
I'd find those documents and I'd drill down into them.
I would struggle with that. I would still comply because that's out of honor and respect of what my superintendent has asked. And if the conversation got shut down and there was no conversation, that would be a greater concern for me, because I believe education is all about learning. And if we're shutting down conversations, we're not learning.
Appreciate that you said that, because I think maybe again that goes back to I'm a woman of color, so that's exactly where I went. We're getting ready for a crazy ass election right now, so that's exactly where my mind went. So in so many ways, just complying. I don't want to make you mad at me, but I don't know, there was so much in there that I was just like, that doesn't sound like you.
I also tend to be a peacekeeper. I'm not a golden retriever, but I do like to keep the peace and help people navigate troubled waters. So it's not neglecting the troubled waters, but I'm also not out there trying to get myself in trouble, if that makes sense. I know there's a lot of social justice stuff in there.
Yeah, there is, rapidly.
Is AI on a similar level as social justice issues? Are we taking AI to an extreme that it hasn't hit that level yet? Or it's really not even that type of an issue?
I think it's that type of issue. I think it's already here, under the surface, but hasn't hit. I don't know, Julie, take over from me.
Yeah, no, again, to me, it falls under technology. It falls under digital divide. And that is a huge issue that has always been an issue, whether it's access to the tools. So when Caroline says, hey, we purchased some accounts, we have a space, so if you don't have it at home, you have no excuse because you can come here and you can play around. But now that's only for the students who are at her university. I remember having different maker spaces around where I lived in New York and in Connecticut, where people can go in for free. Some were associated with colleges, but you could still go in for free and just learn how to use tools like MakerBots and this, that, and the other, because there was the understanding that there's inequity in supplies and services and access to education. So in my sorority, when we mentor middle school age girls, typically of color, we're recognizing in their schools, they're not even talking about computer science. They don't know what coding is. So there's a huge inequity. So for me, AI falls right under that technology inequity and digital divide. And that is a social issue, whether it's access or understanding. And that's part of the National Education Technology Plan. What does it say? The three things are digital divide, digital design divide, and digital access divide. So our call for action from the National Education Technology Plan is already saying there's an issue. So to me, that is part of still a social justice issue.
I don't know if we're any closer to answering this question. If something's banned, if we should still be concerned about it. But I think we at least got the ball rolling. It was a good conversation that went in many tangents, I think.
All right, John, I'm going to get the check because I think Caroline has gotten him.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're a principal, superintendent, technologist, or CTO looking for creative ways to kickstart conversations about generative AI with your team, head over to Hacking GenAI in Education to access a growing library of stimulating conversation starters. Just click the link in the show notes or go to hackinggenai.org to start relevant conversations that will engage your entire team and take your AI discussions to the next level. Till next time, keep the conversation going.